I first heard about this movie back when the original trailer came out, and I honestly thought that it was just going to be another mediocre superhero movie. Even after the reviews started coming in, I really didn't want to subject myself to it, but people started requesting it, and after seeing just how much this movie got panned, I knew I was going to have to do a video on it eventually. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Now, I've seen quite a few bad comic book movies. Most recently, it was Morbius, but I think this one is even worse than that. It's Madam Web, the movie you've all been clamoring for, right? I mean, over the past 15 years or so, we have seen a boatload of superhero movies come out, and I know during that whole time, you have been sitting on pins and needles going, yeah, but when are we gonna get the Madam Web movie? I'm sure by now you've heard that this movie is pretty bad, but how bad is it actually? Well, I've seen my fair share of bad superhero movies, and while I wouldn't consider it the absolute worst, it's definitely up there. It's pretty bad. Madam Web is a movie that feels like overall it doesn't really give a shit. And what's amazing is how the attitude of not really giving a shit permeates through everything. Even the poster. I mean, just look at it. Are you getting excited yet? And check out these character posters. Wow. The movie hasn't even started and I'm already bored. Madam Web is almost 2 hours. Somehow, and throughout the movie, you will frequently be wondering what in the hell they were thinking. Sometimes you might find yourself questioning if you fell asleep at some point and missed a scene or two, because the movie tends to explain the hell out of some things, but totally skips other things, such as developing characters that you'd think should be developed, like, you know, the main antagonist, but I'll get to that later. Overall, it feels like kind of a mess of a story, barely held together by a competent production crew and a talented cinematographer. The movie starts in 1973 with Constance Webb searching for a spider in Peru, and suddenly she's like, oh god, I'm pregnant, and it really sucks looking for spiders when you're pregnant. Kids ruin everything. Anyways, she hired this guy Ezekiel for protection after she heard his umbrella holding skills were second to none. And look, when you're out there looking for spiders, you can't just hire anybody. You have to be sure that you can trust them. Because people are greedy. You basically have to treat it like you're setting up a bank robbery. You have to be confident that this person you're working with isn't going to suddenly turn around and then rip you off and keep all the spiders for themselves. Which is exactly what happens. Ezekiel wants the spider because apparently it can provide superhuman strength, just like the mythical spider people. Something that Constance thinks is ridiculous.
I like to base my research in science, not legends, Mr. Sims.
So Ezekiel shoots her and takes the spider, which really sucks. But hang on a sec, because here comes the spider people to help her. The very same spider people that you scoffed at earlier, Constance. Well, I guess you look like kind of a jerk now, don't you? They take her into a cave, get a spider to bite her on the chest, and then deliver her baby because she's pregnant, remember? And they're basically like, hey, yeah, you're probably gonna die, but it's okay because one day when your kid wants to know what happened, just tell them to come back here and we'll explain the whole thing. Which is actually really nice. I mean, they didn't have to do that. So then they take the baby and, I don't know, mail her out to a foster home or something maybe. The movie jumps ahead 30 years later, where Cassie is working as a paramedic in New York, who very much resents her mother's obsession with spiders. Anyways, she goes out on a call, there's an accident, and she hits her head on the windshield, and this, I guess, unlocks her ability to see into the future. Cassie is kind of a loner. She doesn't have much of a personality, which always makes for a really interesting main character, and she doesn't know how to act in social situations that seem to be pretty easy to navigate. Like when a kid tries to give her a drawing as a gift for saving his mother's life.
Just take it. Take it. Just take it.
Or even just what to call a baby at a baby shower.
Does it have a name?
So really, the main superpower that's on display the most here is the power to make everything awkward and have everyone think that you're weird. Which I would not call a superpower, I would just call that my life.
Guess the name of Mary's baby. Okay, I'll kick things off. Sam.
Nope.
I hope it's not Peter, because then his name would be Peter Parker. That doesn't work at all. You know, you never want to give your kid a name that the other kids can make a rhyme out of and make fun of them with. You know, when I was a kid, I knew this kid named Peter Weeder, and everybody would call him Peter Weeder the Wiener Beater. And I remember this one time, this other kid in our class, he brought a bunch of cocktail wieners to school, and everybody chased Peter around at recess, throwing the cocktail wieners at him, like really hard. Yeah, it's pretty bad. He cried. By the way, who brought these chips? Because they're really spicy. Like, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of a spicy chip. Does anybody else want these? Because otherwise, I'm just going to dump them on the floor. You don't mind if I do that, right? Anyways, Cassie keeps having visions of the future before it happens, and she sees that her coworker is going to get hurt, so she tries to stop him from driving, but it doesn't work, so he ends up getting T-boned. And see, this is just a huge screw-up on Cassie's part. I mean, she knew what was going to happen, and she just let him go. What you do is you ask if he has any cash on him and if you can borrow some. See, now he's dead, and you've got nothing to show for it. Not even $10. And that's lunch, you know, and quite frankly, I think you deserve to go out for lunch. You've had a rough day. A coworker died. Get some Wendy's. Meanwhile, Ezekiel, you know, the guy who shot Cassie's mom and stole the spider, yeah, he's very rich. How did he get to be so rich? No idea. I assume it's from the spider somehow. Anyways, he keeps having this bad dream where these 3 superheroes team up and kill him. So he wakes up and he's like, holy crap, that's the future. You know, because it's a dream I keep having, which means it's the future. I gotta find these 3 girls and kill them before they kill me. So he kills the woman that he met the night before, who works for the NSA, and steals her badge. Then suddenly he just has access to the NSA surveillance technology, but he's got this assistant. Don't know who she is, and I guess her job is to just sit in front of this computer 24/7. And then they're going to somehow create how the girls from his vision would look, just younger and without masks on. And then they're going to use the NSA technology to scan every camera in public around the world for their hypothetical faces. Also, I have no idea what happened with the ADR for this guy, but at times it's brutal. It doesn't even look like he's talking.
I came from nothing, less than nothing. I will not give up everything I've built.
So Cassie goes to the doctor and she's like, I'm having these visions of the future. And the doctor tells her to get some rest.
Get some rest. Watch old movies.
Yes, watch old movies, specifically old movies. Why? Well, I mean, isn't it obvious? You're seeing the future. So if you start watching stuff from the past, maybe it'll, you know, even out a bit. Anyways, Cassie goes on the subway where she has a vision of what's-his-face killing the 3 girls, so she convinces them to get off the train. And then he shows up wearing some kind of a Spider-Man suit. And this is what's so hilarious about this movie. We know nothing about this villain. The only thing we know is that he stole the spider from her mom. He's very rich now, and he has a Spider-Man suit. Why does he have it? Don't know. Trust me, you didn't miss anything. It's just not in the movie. I guess he needs the costume so that he can hide his identity when he kills these 3 girls. You know, usually that's kind of part of the origin story, how they came up with the costume, but no, I guess he just ordered it online and got overnight shipping, apparently. And the only motive that we know of is that he wants to kill these 3 girls because he thinks they're going to try and kill him. And why are they going to try and kill him? No idea. It's not like he has some kind of big evil plan that gets revealed at some point. The movie eventually explains that since he stole the spider, he was cursed, and now it's his destiny to be killed by these 3 girls. So there you go. That's it. Anyways, suddenly the police think that Cassie kidnapped the girls, So they put this out on the radio instantly, and this is what the movie basically is at this point. Cassie's really shitty babysitting gig. So Cassie steals a cab and takes the girls out to the woods, where she leaves them so that she can go back home and look through her mom's journal to see if there are any entries about spider people. Because, what, have you not been paying attention? She just saw a guy crawling on the ceiling like a spider. So, you know, maybe it's all connected. But what if someone sees the cab? It's stolen. That's okay. She'll just pry off the license plate and leave it on the ground. That way no one can track it down.
Spider people.
And what do you know? Her mom has a specific entry in her journal about spider people. It is all connected. The girls get bored and start walking through the woods until they find a diner. But wait, they're in the paper, which is crazy because it's still the same day. Nobody knows who they are, and they haven't been reported as missing because their parents aren't home. Cassie goes back to the woods and has a vision of evil Spider-Man killing the girls in the diner, so she's like, oh crap, I gotta get to that diner. And you might be wondering just what the hell these girls are doing. Well, remember, the movie takes place in 2003, and this is what teenagers did back then. I would know. I remember it like it was yesterday. Everybody from my high school, they would go out at night to a truck stop diner and dance on the tables. It was crazy. Or, you know, so I heard. I was never actually invited to go. But, you know, I mean, why would I want to go anyways? You know, have fun with everybody. So Cassie takes the girls to the Overlook Motel, and in the middle of the night, she is somehow able to communicate with Ezekiel through her dreams. And this is when Cassie loses her mind, apparently, because she feels the best thing for her to do is to leave the girls who are in danger and are only alive because she can see into the future with Ben, who doesn't have the ability to see into the future, as she goes off to Peru to find the spider people, and holy crap, that was quick. And then a bunch of crap happens, which I don't really get. She's able to see from back before she was born, and for some reason she asks her mother why she hated her.
Why did you hate me so much?
You weren't even born yet. She didn't know you, and if she did live long enough to see you grow up, she would have most likely just thought you were boring. At worst. So anyways, you know where this is all going. There's a big fight. Cassie hits Ezekiel with an ambulance this time because apparently stealing cars is really her most effective power, just like it was for Captain America back in 1990. And then she makes the promise that one day the girls will develop powers of their own. Somehow. But we'll never see that because aside from being the end of the movie, it's most likely the end of the franchise as well. Even Dakota Johnson isn't interested in doing something like this again. In an interview with Bustle, she said, "I had never done anything like it before. I probably will never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world. And I know that now. But sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing, and then as you're making it, it becomes a completely different thing, and you're like, wait, what? But it was a real learning experience. And of course, it's not nice to be part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand." And I gotta give her credit for just being honest, like, yeah, this didn't work out, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I would much rather hear that than when celebrities try to blame the public for when a movie tanks. In an interview with Variety, Emma Roberts said, "I personally really loved Madam Web. I really enjoyed the movie. If it wasn't for internet culture and everything being made into a joke, I think that the reception would have been different. And that's what bums me out about a lot of stuff, even stuff that I've done, is people just make such a joke out of everything now." Well, there you go. Thanks a lot, Internet. I guess it's all your fault why this movie wasn't well received by critics and audiences. You just have to make a joke out of everything, and that's why no movie ever performs well, because of all this joking around going on. You shouldn't be listening to other people's opinions online. You should be listening to the commercials that told you to get your tickets now. And you didn't. So what's it gonna take? What is your problem? Just give us your money, dum-dum. Don't think about it. Here's the thing, and I know this might be hard for celebrities to understand, but for a lot of us who aren't rich and famous, joking around about stuff online is one of the few things that we have left in this messed up world to distract us from all the crazy crap that's going on. I based this whole show on that. But even if Dakota Johnson was willing to come back, a sequel is looking very unlikely, considering that this movie was a pretty big bomb. This thing had an opening weekend that was less than half of the opening weekend for Morbius. You might be tempted to say that this is the result of audiences suffering from comic book movie fatigue, and that very well could be part of it, but at the same time, Deadpool and Wolverine just pulled in over $1.3 billion. You also might think that this is the result of making a movie about comic book characters that aren't super well known and popular, but I think the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie is a prime example as to how you can overcome that with good promotion, and if the movie is good, it will generate word-of-mouth marketing as well. But the marketing for this movie was abysmal. It failed at getting people really interested in seeing the movie, and then on top of that, when it did come out, it was such a mess that the only word of mouth was about how bad it was, leading to people who did buy their tickets early to cancel those tickets. And in the end, I really think that's always what it comes down to: marketing and the perceived entertainment value of the movie by the audience. I want to thank all of my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and my YouTube channel members. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, but that's pretty much it for this one, and I'll see you all next time. Oh man, that reminds me, there was this one time when the cafeteria was selling foot-long hot dogs, and the kids, they just bought a bunch of them and started shoving them into Peter's locker, you know, through the vent holes. But the vent holes weren't that big, so there was hot dog meat all over the place. It was a mess. I'm pretty sure one of the teachers actually took part in the whole thing. They got fired. Yeah. In the cafeteria, they were not allowed to sell foot-long hot dogs anymore after that. You know, and poor Peter, he was very upset, as you would expect. Yeah, poor kid. Wonder whatever happened to him. Ah, no care. Why am I still eating these? It's a spicy chip. So you're gonna have that baby or what?